Good evening. Welcome to 49ers After Dark. That's Jessie Naylor. I'm Grant Cohn. Most of the year, this show has an ironic title because it starts at 6 and but now the sun goes out at 5 o'clock. And Jesse, you may not know this, but in California, we voted to get rid of standard time. It passed. There should be a full year of daylight savings time. But the government was like, yeah, we heard your suggestion and we'll consider it, but not this year. Like they keep putting it off and it really grinds my gears. Jesse, you look great though. How are you?
Thanks, man. I'm doing good. It actually same thing in Florida. We passed it as well, and that's it. I don't know. The government has to approve it, which is a weird thing. I feel like we should be able to choose our own times, right?
I thought voting was democracy, but it seems like it's just a suggestion.
Yeah, it is.
They're like, yeah, we'll take it under consideration. It's like, what are we, children? We voted.
Yeah, exactly.
The sun
I can
goes
choose
down at
so many
5
other things.
o'clock.
I can't choose the time I want it to be. What the hell?
5 o'clock? What is that? It's hurting my mental health. But you know what? The Niners just won a football game, so I think that's helping everyone. It's really important that your favorite football team wins from time to time. Sure, they've lost 3 of their last 4, but they won one, and they're on a 1-game winning streak, and that makes them the best team in the league.
Grant, it had been a month since they had won a football game. You factor in the bye week, a whole month, man, 4 weeks. That's a long time.
It feels like a lifetime sometimes.
It does.
When you really factor in what can go into a month. Anyway, let me ask you a question. Is the 49ers Super Bowl window closed? Is this the end? Is this their best shot? I mean, they're not necessarily a young team.
No, they're not a young team, Grant. They are, in fact, they're the 4th oldest team in the league. Their offense is like 6th oldest. Their defense
is
the
29th youngest team in the league. If you think about
it. That's a good glass half full. I like it. Yeah, I think there's a lot of factors that go into this. One, you've got an older team that is expensive. They chose to forego multiple first-round picks for Trey Lance. And usually the way you get cheaper and younger is through the draft, not through free agency. And unfortunately, when you forego first-round talent the way that they have, that means you have to build through free agency a little bit. And that's what they've done. But when you do that, you're bringing on older players. Usually you're bringing on more expensive players. And it's really hard to keep the depth of a team. The thing is about the NFL, and Seattle kind of proved this, that you can rebuild on the fly or retool on the fly if you do it the proper way. The 49ers are going to have to be very diligent and hit on their draft picks the next few years to make sure they can do that. But I think for this team, the core cast of players, the Kittles, the Trent Williams, Bosa and Fred Warner, they're probably fine. CMC, I do think this is their last best chance to win a Super Bowl. I do.
4th oldest team in the league. 29th youngest. That sounds a lot better. But
there we go.
It feels like not only are they old, but they've played a lot of football games the last few years. It's like 20 games a year.
Yeah.
No wonder that they like seemingly pace themselves a little bit in September and October. So is this the end of the Niners Super Bowl window? I mean, not if they were drafting well, but they got, Ty Davis Price, Danny Gray, Drake Jackson. Let's just name guys. Like this is the Trey Sermon, Spencer Burford, Robert Beal, Cam Latu, Jair Brown,
Ambry Thomas,
Darrell Luter Jr., Samuel Womack.
A lot of iffy picks.
They've just whiffed like 2 drafts in a row. Now, Brock Purdy, hell of a 7th round pick. No question. One of the better 7th round picks, I'm not going to say ever, but of the last few years, for sure. And maybe ever if he continues on this pace. But Drake Jackson, Ty Davis Price is inactive every game. And it's his 2nd year on the team. Like, at what point does he get to suit up? I don't understand.
Luckily for them, they have hit on some of the later picks. And I also will say there's a few of those names are still to be determined if they can be anything in this league. But they're going to need them to be something, or most of them to be something, if they want to continue and retool on the fly. I think, it's interesting because to have a 5-year window in the league where you're one of the better teams is hard to do.
Unheard of.
Almost impossible to do without an elite quarterback, and the 49ers have done that, which is kind of crazy to think about it. I don't know if that's impressive or if it's unfortunate because maybe that's why they don't end up winning a Super Bowl with this roster, but I mean, it's something.
They couldn't afford an elite quarterback if one came along. Like, they're so committed to having the best team.
Yeah.
I don't think they really respect the quarterback position. From Jed to John to Kyle. Like, Jed York grew up in Youngstown or whatever, watching the Bears or whatever. He doesn't know. John Lynch won a Super Bowl with Brad Johnson. He doesn't get it. Kyle Shanahan's dad won a Super Bowl, with John Elway, but it was really with Terrell Davis.
It was an aging John Elway.
Yeah, those two really think it's about the running back and them, not the quarterback. So I'm not surprised that this is the path they would take. I just think it's interesting that, like, his subordinates didn't do this. D'Amico didn't go to Houston and say, you know what, I'm not drafting a quarterback this year. It's like he learned from Kyle Shanahan's mistake. He had the second pick. He didn't mess around. He didn't take Solomon Thomas. He drafted C.J. Stroud. And all of a sudden, that Houston team looks serious. They beat Cincinnati. Kyle's team didn't beat Cincinnati. Like, I wonder what would happen if Houston played the Niners right now. But that's neither here nor there.
I would hope the 49ers would win that game, but I mean, CJ Stroud's really good, especially for a
lost
rookie.
to PJ Walker, so I don't know.
True. That's true.
And the people be like, hey, well, the Niners were missing Trent Williams. No, he played. The Niners were missing Deebo Samuel in that game. The Browns were missing Deshaun Watson and Nick Chubb.
Yeah. Oh, and Bettino, their best lineman as well.
Then the next week, the Niners lost to a team that didn't have Justin Jefferson. So I think you know what? Let's just get right into it right now. How many teams in the NFL would beat the Niners on a neutral field right now?
This is so tough that I would say for sure would beat them. This isn't a, hey, maybe they can. For sure that I would pick them on a neutral field. I don't think the list is very long. I mean, this team is still really good, Grant. Okay, I'll give you one team right now for sure. Let's go back and forth until we presumably run out of teams. Kansas City Chiefs would beat the San Francisco 49ers on a neutral field right now. Yes.
I mean, if they played 10 times, the Niners might win some of those games. They'd have a chance. But yeah, I'd pick the Chiefs.
Yeah, they would be favored. You throw out another
one.
Team. Okay.
I would have to give the nod to Philly.
That one's tough for me because here's what's crazy about this. Hold on. Here's what's crazy about this. I genuinely think the 49ers are going to beat Philadelphia in Philadelphia. We're going to remember this point. We're going to remember this point in a few weeks when the 49ers play the Philadelphia Eagles. And remember that I said they're going to beat Philly.
All right. They might beat Philly in the regular season, but I still think Philly's better than them.
Okay. That's fair. Baltimore Ravens, I think, would beat the 49ers right now on a neutral field.
It's a tough one. Yeah, they're pretty good. How about the Cleveland Browns? Hold on. I got another one. How about the Cincinnati Bengals?
That's true. I mean,
how about the
sometimes
Minnesota
teams just
Vikings?
match up. Oh my gosh.
Hey man, the Niners are so weird. Like, to me, so we just mentioned they're an older team. The fourth oldest team in the league. And when they're rested and healthy, when they're rested and healthy, they look great. They were rested and healthy against Jacksonville.
Yeah.
What's it going to look like in January? They get no more weeks off, most likely. They might get that number 1 seed, probably won't. I mean, by week 6, they look tired. Week 6, you got a little breather. What are you going to look like in 2 weeks? 4 weeks. So, I mean, today, the Niners might run through the league. But in a month on a neutral field, man, like, what about Cleveland? What about any team in the AFC North? I don't know.
I think I think that's what makes this tough.
Like you beat the Steelers week 1. Would you have beaten the Steelers week 8? I don't know. Sorry.
No, that's a good point. I mean, week 8, 49ers was not the same team. I think that's what makes this tough. A lot of people, pretty much everybody knew that they could bounce back and probably would. I know that I picked them to beat Jacksonville. I didn't expect that, but they did their thing. The question isn't can they bounce back because they've done that multiple times. The question is can they do it for 12 weeks in a row if they don't get the bye week? That's what's the hard thing to do. They ran out of steam after 7. Imagine what it looks like the 12th week after 11 straight.
Also, I think it's a question of motivation. You know what I'm saying? Like if I come into work and work my ass off and Inditex ships a few extra shipments, I don't see another dime. It's a question of motivation. No. I'm sorry. No one knows what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. I think I lost it.
It's obvious.
No.
You're talking about motivation.
It's a question of motivation. So it's like last week, 3-game losing streak. They're embarrassing themselves, coming off a bye. Everyone says they have to beat Jacksonville, and they're not going to beat Jacksonville. That's what I said. Must-win game, and I'm picking Jacksonville. Well, like Eric Armstead, $17 million a year. Javon Hargrave, $18 million. Like all these really good players are like, you know what? We're going to show up this week. We got this. And it's like, okay, you were motivated, but you were externally motivated. You let the noise. Okay, we had a 3-game losing streak. People doubt us. So let's go prove Grant, Cohn, and Jessie don't believe in us. Let's go prove ourselves. All right, cool. That's great. It's way better to be internally motivated. Because this week, no one in the world's going to pick against you. No one. And that's exactly when you play your worst. So just show that you actually have a standard and live up to it against Tampa when the whole world thinks you're going to win. You don't get any external motivation this week.
Oh, yeah. I mean, no. Tampa, they better win this game. If they don't win this game, I would be completely out on their Super Bowl chances.
You can't just chalk it up, though. They lost to freaking PJ Walker. You can't say that enough, really. Like, they won't even play PJ Walker anymore in Cleveland. Like, he's done. They're like, you know what, PJ? Thank you for your effort. We appreciate it. We're going to go with Dorian Thompson-Robinson now.
But I think some of that also is Deshaun Watson is a shell of himself, and hopefully they can turn Dorian Thompson-Robinson into something. Because if not, I don't know what the future is in Cleveland.
I'm betting on Dorian. Pickle. I'm a big fan. Did you say pig in a pickle?
No, I said they're in a pickle, though.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Neil says in London right now and gets dark at 4.
Oh,
that really grinds my gears.
It really grinds my gears.
Like, why did the government decide that's the way it had to be? Because God forbid it's dark at 8 in the morning. Okay. I'll live with it.
Yeah. I think it's like they don't want kids at bus stops when it's dark or something. I don't know.
Oh, they're blaming it on the children.
Yeah.
I bet the kids, let's take a poll of the children. I bet they'd be on our side. Maybe PSF 95 says whoever asked that question about offseason coaching today could have got his answer from the internet or a random fan off the street. Really bad.
What question?
It was Jason Cole. And the way he asked the question was so weird. He's like, it was very, did you hear it?
No.
His first question. It was like a very slow, like he was like forgetting the words. He's like, what do you do? Like really drawing it out. What do you do when you got a player?
Oh, the quarterback coaching thing?
Yes. Did you hear that?
The worst. That was awful.
It was so strange. Like nothing against Jason Cole, but it was like the way he asked, I was uncomfortable. I was like, what are you getting at right now? What do you do when you got a player who has coaches who aren't necessarily in the building? And like Kyle was essentially that's like, who are you asking about? Right? That's what I would. That's what I would like. I wouldn't just answer that question without like, what are you doing? Am I in like an interrogation right now?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, Brock Purdy. He's like, okay, well, yeah. I mean, that's sort of how it works, dude. He smacked me down in the press conference today. Although I wasn't challenging him.
No,
he just made it real clear that he watches the secondary, and I wanted him to just expand upon it. And I think he gets defensive because he knows that I'm always questioning him. He gets defensive. And I think he thought I was like insinuating that he was doing it wrong when I was genuinely interested in his process. And he was like, anyone who watches the ball doesn't know what they're doing. And I was like, well, I don't watch the ball. I don't watch the ball. I would never.
Looking around, you're like, you watch
never.
the ball? You watch the ball? I bet he watches the ball. He seems like a guy that watches the ball. I don't watch the ball. I was trying to test you, Kyle. I was trying to test you.
Yeah, man. I don't understand. Brother Bob says, what y'all talking about? Forget them picks.
If they win a Super Bowl, it's forget them picks.
Lobs all day with the generous $10 donation. Haven't read this yet, but I think it's going to be about Brock Purdy. O-line awful, protected by run equals sets of play action. Weapons don't matter if you can't block in true pass sets. Purdy front runner. Ask yourself why they are behind in those games to begin with. Hey, look, let me just say something. I like Lobs all day. Don't know who he is. And I think even though like he wears his support of Brock Purdy on his sleeve, it's a very fair comment.
Can I say this about Lobs? I like Lobs when he calls in and we talk. I really enjoy
I've never
Lobs.
actually had him call in. Could you call in Lobs?
Lobs on Twitter. I hate Lobs on Twitter.
I think I hate everyone on Twitter. I think it's fair. Like everyone's pursuit of likes and retweets is kind of disgusting in a way, if you think about it.
Yeah.
It's pointless. It's self-serving. It's usually mean. Like, just get the hell off that site. I would imagine that's sort of how I'm 35, maybe approaching 36, and I think that site is just, it's fun sometimes. Like I posted a picture of my eggplant parmesan last night, and I was proud of that, and I felt that was wholesome.
And I bet somehow you still got shitty comments. I would guarantee it.
I didn't read them. I just wanted people to see.
But people are weird. You could literally say the least controversial thing or say nothing. If you posted a period, just post a period. Don't say anything else. People would rip you. I guarantee it.
Right now, I'm gonna do it.
Let's do it. Let's do it for society. I guarantee people will be like, yeah. And Grant, you're such a piece of crap. Like,
this went down.
Dude, I posted a period.
I posted a period. But hold on, can we address what Lobs all day said? He gave us $10. O-line awful, protected by runs, equal sets of play action. Weapons don't matter if you can't block a true pass. That's pretty front runner. Yeah. That is true. It's so hard to separate the quarterback from Kyle's system. It's so hard. Like, is Brock Purdy a front runner? Is Brock Purdy a choker? Or is the whole system set up to front run? Is the whole system set up to take a lead and keep it as opposed to come from behind? Because they don't have the offensive line to really drop back and pass. It's true. Is it? I don't know, man. It's fair. And I like how he defends Brock Purdy, like he's Brock Purdy's dad.
Uncle. Maybe he is Brock Purdy's uncle.
Yeah.
Maybe he's Brock Purdy. But I will say this. The whole coming from behind thing or winning coming from behind, that's a Kyle Shanahan thing. For sure. I mean, that's been there since Kyle's been here. So is it Purdy's fault? Is it? I don't know.
I already have 9 responses to that tweet.
Do you?
Yeah.
Is there just one a-hole?
Hold on. It's 9 responses to the period. I'll read them. How dare you do this? Read your replies now. Such a damn hater. Back at you, dude, says Joshua Knudsen. This is your smart. This is your smartest tweet. ... Grant's best tweet. Way to mark the start of your. I'm not reading that. Grant, you're a bust. Freaking bum. Hater. Grant, you're. How dare you? I love that. Thank you very much, everyone.
I told you. Like, seriously, reevaluate yourself. Reevaluate your life. He just posted a freaking period. I told you. I knew that was going to happen. The
site is absolute trash.
Garbage.
I spent no time on Instagram. I'm proud of that. And the less time, the less time I spend on Instagram, the better. I mean, Twitter. God, it's terrible. It's just awful. Lobs, thank you. Brother Bob did not hit on Moody. Huge reach. Man, he nailed that one field goal last week by an inch. Pete Ruiz says his disciples learn from him, but yet can't beat him. Outside the one Rams game, his people get dog walked by him and his squad.
Okay.
Yeah, but he hasn't played the Jets yet. Randall says, Eagles lost to the Jets. Can we stop the who beat who narrative?
Hold on. Well, that's their only loss, though. This is the thing that we do. Last year, it was the Eagles lost to Washington, so we were going to beat them. Okay. But this whole... What actually, go back to the last comment. What was the last comment? Sorry. Or you probably deleted it by now.
No. Hold on. Pete Ruiz. His disciples are
No,
from him,
okay.
but yet
Yeah,
can't beat
his disciples, other than one, I mean, none of them have won a Super Bowl either. So the league, this is what people like to say about Shanahan, and he is a good coach. I'm not pretending that he's not, but they always say, well, the whole league is running his system. Well, the whole league that runs his system isn't winning Super Bowls either. So is it that great of a system that you can forego great quarterback play and just build a team without an offensive line? Clearly it's not. Otherwise, they would all be winning rings.
Keith Murphy, the unbeaten, says, being fair, Watson and PJ are the same this year. I mean, no, they're
But
not.
Chubb was not there, and Bettino was not there either.
Joey Mellon says, don't sleep on the Broncos. Boogeyman coming. Great show, guys.
At least they don't have to play him.
John Williams says, all the good team channels are asking the same questions about their own teams. Good question, but it's shared league wide. It's a long season.
For sure.
It's also not that long. Dave Barclay says, my guys, hope you're doing well. Can we scream it from the rooftops yet? We've said don't play him. We've said play him. Kyle, play Mason. Please. Grant and Jesse always killing it. Like, subscribe. No. Kyle Shanahan, whatever you do, don't play Jordan Mason. It's a terrible idea. Whatever reason you have for not playing him is right. Do not play Jordan Mason. In fact, if you do play Jordan Mason, I'm going to make fun of you. I'm going to ridicule you. Don't do it.
You're going to have a snarky question for him.
Real OBJ CDT says, y'all keep saying you want an elite quarterback. Would you trade Purdy and Kittle and Warner for Josh Allen? These are 20. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Of course. In a New York minute.
My thing with Josh Allen is, like, I feel that he needs a coach he respects, and it wasn't Ken Dorsey, because I don't know, if I were the offensive coordinator and my quarterback was playing like a pig, which is kind of how I feel Josh Allen's playing these days, man, I feel like I'm totally ineffective, and that's why he got fired mid-season. And I don't think players look at Kyle Shanahan that way. He's got some gravitas, and I think Josh Allen would fall in line here, and I think he would be great on this team.
I think so too.
He'd be great. So yes, I would trade Kittle. Forget picking a pickle, but really though, TDP cut next year. No, they're going to need TDP next year. He's very important to their operation. He's very important. Abu Bashar TV says, best part about Coach Shanahan today, telling you don't know football. I don't watch the ball. Why did he assume that I watched? I just wanted to get him on the record. He assumes too much and gets so defensive.
He does.
You think this is a face that watches the football? Oh my gosh. Here's the football.
If you're watching the football, then you don't know what you're watching.
I don't even watch the game. I look the other way. That's how advanced I am. Dave Barclay says, oh, I hope I see the result of this period thing. Go look on Twitter, man.
It's there. It's bad already.
Whoa, that's an imposter. It says, we got imposters for Brother Bomb. That's crazy. Anoop says, Grant, you have to ask Kyle about the right side of the O-line. Purdy took some horrible hits after the Burford, and McCovitz got tossed around. QC. All right, I will. I will. Dave Barkley says, Grant, we've tried the reverse psychology. Let's commit to it, though.
We have.
Lobs All Day says, ask Kyle why Feliciano has to start it over Burford. Okay, that's a fair question.
That is a good question. That's a very good question.
Yeah. I don't understand the entire Spencer Burford era. I don't get it. He was a 4th-round pick. He played left tackle at UTSA. They moved him to right guard. They made him split time with Daniel Brunskill, who was objectively better than him. They would have been better off just playing Daniel Brunskill. Then they let Brunskill go and assume Burford would get better, just like they assumed Drake Jackson would get better. Neither one did. Drake Jackson got benched, and they just act like Burford's fine. I don't get that.
Why did the 49ers always feel like they can consistently take guys in college who played one position and make them play a completely different position, and it'll just work? They did it. They do it all the time. Nick Zakel, they drafted to be a center, I think, and he was not. You've got Moore, I think, was a guard. But he's playing tackle. I don't know.
Fast says Grant wanted Ken Dorsey to be our head coach. LOL, shake my head. I just said he was on my radar. But yeah, I guess not. I think things started when he beat up the iPad. That was a bad sign. Remember that?
Yeah, that was interesting.
That was a bad sign. It's like, dude, you might not be emotionally ready for this. Dave Barclay says, I'm too old for Twitter. Me too. Josh Milgram says, should John Feliciano be our new right tackle? Right guard.
Not right tackle. Not right tackle. No.
Right guard. I would put him in right guard. All right. 2019 Jimmy Garoppolo versus 2023 Brock Purdy through 9 games. Who's better?
So this is pretty funny. I took Brock's season so far and I just extrapolated it over the rest of the season and what his numbers would be. And I took Jimmy's 2019 season and extrapolated the averages and added the 17th game. Posted those numbers, just raw numbers, didn't say who's who. Posted them on Twitter and posted them on.
I'm retweeting it right now. Right now.
Posted them on Twitter and I posted them on my YouTube channel. Between the two, about 3,000 total votes, and roughly 64% rode with 2019 Jimmy. Now, again, these were blind numbers. You don't know who's the quarterback, whatever. I think it's funny because a lot of people really box score scout when they look at players across the league because you don't have time to watch every player and you make assumptions on players based off of numbers. Really, the reality of the situation is anybody who's paying attention would 100% take 2023 Brock over 2019 Jimmy. However, the numbers don't necessarily say that. And if you just box score scout, you're probably going to be wrong. Or if you make a prediction or do your quarterback list strictly off stats, it's like watching the ball, Grant, instead of watching the play around the ball. That's what it's like.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a funny thing, but no, I would absolutely take 2023 Brock over 2019 Jimmy.
But I think it's important to remember how
not bad Jimmy was in this system.
Yeah, like his numbers were money. He was 8-1 at this point. He didn't have Christian McCaffrey. He didn't have Brandon Ayuk. Debo Samuel was a rookie. Kittle was great. He had Raheem Mostert, Tevin Coleman. He had Emmanuel Sanders.
Staley was great, but he's not as good as Trent Williams.
He didn't have Emmanuel Sanders for like the first 5, 6, 7 games. And he did all this, won 13 games, put up good numbers, went to the Super Bowl. And we all kind of wondered, we all had an inkling. I don't know what an inkling is, but we had it, that he wasn't any good despite all of that. And you know what? We were right. He's not good at all. He's worse than Aiden O'Connell. And he accomplished a lot on the 49ers.
He had a good EPA, though, Grant. I mean, I thought that was a predictor of quarterback play. Is it not?
I'm just saying, when Brock Purdy racks up these accolades, these stats, and these wins, just keep in mind that Jimmy did that too. Not at the same degree, although he went to a freaking Super Bowl, and Brock hasn't done that yet.
Well, he's done it at the same degree as far as wins. But again, quarterback, this is the whole quarterback wins thing. Do they matter or do they not? Because they matter when you're trying to like prop up Brock and say how great he is, but he wins, but he wins, but he wins. But then when you say, well, Jimmy won more games in 2019, okay, now they don't matter as much. It's all about picking and choosing what matters when you're trying to make a point. You know what I mean?
Like, how many legit starting quarterbacks would look bad on if Jimmy Garoppolo would look good on the Niners, a guy who's literally a backup quarterback now. He's benched. He's a backup quarterback now. He looked good on the Niners. There's got to be 35 quarterbacks in the league that would look good on the 49ers. There's got to be 34 quarterbacks who would look better on the Niners than Jimmy Garoppolo. And fine, Trey Lance wasn't one of them, although we'll never really know. But I mean, there's got to be 35. And Brock Purdy's one of them. Great, man. What would Kenny Pickett look like on the Niners? I don't think anything of Kenny Pickett, but I'm sure he'd be good. What would Dak Prescott look like on the 49ers? I'm sure he'd be good. What would Lamar Jackson look like on the 49ers? He might be unstoppable. So,
yeah, I think
I want to point that out.
Here's the deal. I think 2023 Brock, I would take over Jimmy. I'm a lot more confident. And it really is, it just comes down to a feeling. This is where the numbers don't matter. Just watching the games. Again, every time Jimmy dropped back and the ball would leave the edge of your screen, your heart would flutter a little bit. It doesn't do that with Brock. Now, it kind of did the last couple of games, but for the most part, it has not done that with Brock Purdy. That right there is worth its weight in gold. Those feelings, those eye test things that you go through and you talk about, those things matter probably more than statistics.
I'm going to say something about Brock. People don't want to talk about this. It might be a little controversial, but he scares me this year. Let me tell you what scares me about Brock. The fact that he was so good off a bye week. The fact that his arm looks stronger off a bye week. Two things could happen with his arm this year. It would get stronger as he goes along, or it would get tired. And it looked and sounded like it was getting tired before the bye week. He mentioned that Troy Aikman is not 100%, and he had a 3-game losing streak, played some of his worst ball. He has a bye week and he's all back. That's scary to me because he doesn't get any more bye weeks, most likely. Probably has to play about, to win a Super Bowl. He's played like 12 more games in a row. What's his arm going to look like in the 10th game, even the 6th game? That's scary. 2019, Jimmy Garoppolo was coming off an ACL tear, but it's not like his knee got tired as the year went on. Like this elbow thing seems like he needs rest, and he's not going to get it. I'm curious to see how that plays out.
Yeah, most certainly. But he did have a week of deloading, so he should be, I would think, okay.
Hey, he was good for 5 weeks. Remember, he didn't do much in training camp. He had deloading in training camp. He didn't do much in preseason. They were really gentle with him. He was fresh. He looked great in Pittsburgh, man. He looked so good. Just destroyed Dallas. And then everything changed. So I don't know. Maybe it was not the arm, but it just seemed like all of a sudden he had a little extra zip after the bye week. The rest did him good, and he's not going to get it anymore. And that's the kind of thing that makes me feel like, I don't know, man, maybe I take 2019 Jimmy. Like, what is 2023 Brock going to look like in the playoffs? Is he going to look like week 6 through 8? Because if that's the case, then they got no chance.
2019 Jimmy looked awful in the playoffs. Let's not forget that. I don't think an 80% arm Brock Purdy would look near as bad as Jimmy Garoppolo did in the playoffs.
It's true. He was so bad against Minnesota.
So bad in the playoffs.
He was disgusting. He was offensive.
It was offensive.
All right, let's do some prize picks. I have to cleanse my palate. Here we go. Prize picks this week. What do you like? Which action do you want? Ayuk, Purdy, McCaffrey, Debo, Kittle. What you want? What do you like?
Well, we have to take Purdy.
Got to. 247.5. It was a few weeks ago that it was always like 220, right? Now.
Well, now he's averaging like 250 a game or 258 a game or something. Yeah.
What do you like here?
I like more. The secondary for the Bucs is not very good. They're not. They play a lot of zone. Where they mix it up is more going to be along that front seven, the looks that they give. But Brock is not easily confused. I think that he might go for 300 in this game. So I'll take more.
I agree. Bucs have a really good run defense. Kyle respects it. They're going to be passing. I think they're going to be more. Let's do McCaffrey, 68.5 rush yards against a very good run defense.
I will say less. I'm going to go less.
Say less too. I think he's going to have like more than 100 all-purpose yards.
I agree.
But I'm going to go less. Let's go Kittle, 45.5.
He's so up and down, isn't he?
Lately, he's been up.
Even his good games this year, his 2 best games, he's only had 3 total catches in those games.
It's true. It's like, is he going to get the big play, right?
That's what it comes down to. Yeah, because against Dallas, he had 3 catches and 3 touchdowns. This last week, he had 3 catches, but one of them went for like 70 yards. So,
yeah, that is true.
He needs the big play to go over 45. It's not going to be an accumulation, at least not yet.
9 catches against Cincinnati, but other than that, you're right. It's like 3.
Yeah. With Debo back, I'll say less than.
Here's where I win. I'm going more than, man. He's done it 3 games in a row. He had 116 last game, 149 before that, and 78 before that.
You think he's hit his trend. You think Stella's got her groove back with Brock Purdy? They figured it out again?
They got a good connection, man. Brock Purdy is all about throwing to tight ends and running backs. Basically. He doesn't really do much with Debo. And Ayuk's so good that he can, produce with any quarterback. But I don't think the fit between Ayuk and Purdy is that great. But with Kittle, it's phenomenal. Use check, McCaffrey, it's money.
I like it.
Guys.
I like it. Okay.
All right. Let's get one dude from the Buccaneers. Let's get Baker.
Let's get Baker. Yeah.
Come on. Hold on. Nope. I'm press the X. There it is. Buccaneers. All right, Baker. 230.5.
Oh, actually,
No, I want Mike Evans.
I was just saying,
Mike
that's
Evans.
exactly what I
I
was
want
like.
Mike Evans. It's got to be
Yes,
more,
give me
right? It's
more.
got to be
Give
more.
me
Like, that's
more.
easy.
Yes,
Ugh.
give me
All
more.
right.
That right there is almost a free space, I feel like.
No doubt. Brock Purdy more than 247.5. George Kittle more than 45.5. That's my call.
Now we're going to be wrong because I said that, but it just feels 54.5. I mean, he might get that on a catch.
We didn't get the McCaffrey one. Where's that? Who at? Boom. Do we not? Do we do McCaffrey?
Yeah,
Less,
we
right?
did. We said less. Yeah.
All right. Let's lock it in.
Lock it
$20 to win
in.
200.
I
$20
like
to win 200. That's how Prize Picks roll. If you want to play, use promo code Cohn, COHN, and receive 100% deposit match up to $100. That's a lot. All right, back to the show. Enough fun and games. Let's get to serious business.
Serious.
Jesse, this is so serious. What is Chase Young's biggest impact on the 49ers?
It's something that I talked about last week with Larry, and I think that it really came to fruition this week, which is he's very good individually, Grant. We know that. We saw that. But his biggest impact is now they finally have the depth that they've really been missing all season. Even last year, Grant, they were able to run full rotations where they would bring all 4 starters off the field, bring in 4 backups, and they were okay. They allowed Bosa and Armstead and some of these guys to get a lot of rest throughout the game, and then they would bring them in big situations on those drives, and then they would do whole drives with them. That really, to me, had been missing to this point in the season. This last week was the first time that you saw it pretty regularly. Even before the game was out of hand, they were pulling out a lot of the starters and going with the second tier line. And the second tier line is still a very good one now that Chase Young has pushed everybody down the depth chart. So I think his biggest impact is just allowing everybody else to rest and be at their best, because he's brought depth to the defensive line that this team has always been used to until this year.
Yeah. And I think that's where, to me, the Niners are a little wonky with their roster building philosophy. Like, they spend so much money on their defensive line, where to me, it's like defensive linemen are a dime a dozen. You can find defensive linemen everywhere. Yeah, Chase Young was available. Randy Gregg's available. You got Randy Gregory for nothing. You got Chase Young for like not even a top 100 pick. They're around, and like, they don't play 100% of the snaps, even the best ones. It's a rotation. You need to be 8 deep on the defensive line. Every team needs to be 8 deep, so you don't necessarily need to be giving out like 3-4 huge contracts on that position group. You can get guys. You can have platoons. You can work it out. On the offensive line, those guys play 100% of the snaps unless they're Spencer Burford. Like, I don't understand skimping there. You can play money ball in the D line and still get really good players. You can't do that on the offensive line and actually be able to pass protect. In my opinion, you can do outside zone.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, you see it all the time. There's big name. DJ Jones was a later pick. He was a massive, massive get for the 49ers. He brought so much value to that team before he was out. And then they went and got guys like a Minahu, Arden Key, Ebucom. They've bargained, been shopped. I understand the elite pass rusher, the Bosa for sure, definitely. Maybe you need one more guy that's very, very good, an Armstead or a Hargrave, what have you. But outside of that, you really can just build up the depth and just go at it that way. That's definitely the way to win, for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Just shows you got to be 8 deep, and I think what you want to do, instead of signing Armstead for 1 million years at 30 and a Hargrave for 1 million years at 30, and I think you want to do what the Eagles do, sort of draft that position and maybe let people go sometimes. That's what they did with DeForest Buckner. It's the wrong guy to let go. But yeah, I think they've look. They should re-sign Chase Young unless he's cheap. Otherwise, it's like another high-priced defensive lineman. You need to be 8 deep on that position, not 4 deep. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be an interesting thing this offseason. But I think Chase Young's probably going to price himself out. I think he's going to get big money somewhere else. If Arden Key could get paid what he got, or a Minahu, imagine a second overall pick who struggled a little bit, but is able to revive his career, look very healthy. He's still only about 25 years old. He's going to get paid big money this offseason, I think.
Yeah, also, doesn't it feel like nothing benefits a player's reputation more than going from Washington to the Niners? Like, there's something about playing for Washington that kind of holds you back. Like, no one takes you seriously as a player. When Trent Williams was with Washington for a long time, he was better than he is now in the Niners. He was younger.
Mhm.
No one talked about him like that. He was like an urban legend that if you knew a dude from Virginia or Maryland, they'd be like, do you watch Washington games? You'd be like, no. Like, you should really watch 71. He's amazing. Now, as soon as he goes to the Niners, he's like, everyone knows he's the best. And PFF says it. I feel like your profile just goes through the roof. And now Chase Young, everyone's going to forget about his overrated, forgettable years in Washington. If he has half a good season with the Niners, he'll be like, oh, it's Washington's fault, whether it was or not.
Yeah. I mean, he's playing for his future right now, and he's probably going to get paid. He might end up having a similar career to Jadeveon Clowney, where he just bounces around team to team to team, but is always in the league, always getting paid, and always making a difference for that new team.
Certainly. Real OBJ CDT says, could you ask Kyle why Mitchell plays over Mason? Yeah, I could do that. I like that.
I think it's a good direct question.
Dave Barclay says, yeah, it's like, dude, Kyle, all respect, but running back A is averaging 2 point whatever yards per carry, and running back B is averaging 5 point whatever. Like, can you explain why you keep playing running back A? And you know who I'm talking about, Kyle.
Should give him just a blind test. One quarter. Who are you taking? Quarterback, or excuse me, running back A or running back B? You know who I'm talking about, man. Like, why do I have to put it like this? That Saints game in 19 was amazing since Dave Barclay. Certainly. Yeah, Dave again, and I like Brock way more. Yeah, you got to give that Saints game was incredible.
It was the best thing Jimmy ever did. Purdy over Brother Bob says, are you saying Garoppolo is better than Purdy, is better than Herbert? Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Dave says, but in reality, I'm a Lance fan. Ha 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 ha. In reality,
you're about to get toasted in the comments, I'm sure.
Brother Bob says, how bad must Trey have been if they didn't want him?
I don't know.
We'll have to see. Gornison says, what percentage of Niners are living up to their contracts? 68.
I would have probably gone closer to 67%, but sure, if that's the route you want to take.
Brother Bob says, no such thing as a sore or dead arm. PP told me so. Man, you got a serious agenda. I love it. Mike Josh with Monza says, if Niners flop and Kyle was fired as a Niner fan, Jesse, would you want to move forward with Brock? Brock is Favre light, yet you have to accept him as that. Favre light?
I mean, I would certainly want to move forward with him on this contract and at least bridge the gap. I wouldn't just get rid of him, but I would, even if Kyle was here, I wouldn't want him as my franchise quarterback.
Monza says, am I the only one that's seen Ayuk push defender to get the first touchdown? Could have been PI or a pick without the push. Anyone notice Kyle's stat padding for Brock?
I don't really notice that. Let me clarify. I don't want what I think Brock is going to be as my franchise quarterback. Now, if Brock becomes a guy that I just didn't see coming and can carry a team and is worth $50 million in 2 years, I would love. I don't care who it is. I just want a franchise quarterback. I just don't think he will be that guy. So my preference is not him. But if he becomes that guy, I will be totally fine with that.
Yeah. Purdy, Brother Bob says, Grant and Jesse, AK's. I'm not saying that. It's a family show, Brother Bob. He's always trying to get me to.
I tell you, you know who Brother Bob is, and I told him this. He is the Dre Greenlaw of the chat. He's always this close to a penalty. He's always toting the line, always getting you with late hits.
Hold on, let me retweet Jose real quick. Jose just posted his article. Everyone read Jose's article, latest.
I'm going to go retweet. Period.
Niners came to fight. Niners came for fight, hit them in the mouth. They have yet to respond with the win when the opponent hit them back. Jacksonville didn't swing, take win though. Jacksonville didn't know what it was doing apparently, and they knew it.
49ers were impressive. Here's the thing. A lot of people picked Jacksonville to win. I picked a close game. I think anybody who was looking at that game, both teams coming off of a bye, one team on a 5-game win streak, one team on a 3-game losing streak, one team traveling, the team that's on the losing streak. In hindsight, we can say whatever, but that was a very, very impressive way to win that game. It just was.
Yeah. I would have beaten them by 40, though, if I had been in charge. Would have won by more.
Oh, that was the fake.
Job.
That was the fake brother Bob, I guess. The other one saying stuff about Lance, I think.
Fake me being copied as a compliment, but you need okay. Macklin Peterson. Is it Macklin? Macklin?
I'll go Macklin.
Hey dudes, say Wilkes pushes the press man more over the next couple of weeks. Who becomes the MVP of our defense over the next, say, 4-game stretch? Ambry. Someone in the pass rushing department, because they'll get more opportunities to like sack quarterback.
Yeah, I think so.
Hey man, screw you, Lobs all day. I saw what you said on Twitter. He said that was the smartest tweet I ever put. The period.
Oh, is he the one that said it? I told you. What did I tell you? I told you.
Why'd you do that, Lobs? I thought we were cool. I thought we had an understanding. T-Law is way more talented than Brock. Processing, accuracy, mechanics, playmaker wins. Elite arm is cherry on top, not the cake. Always remembered that.
T-Law is way more talented than Brock. Processing. So are you saying that you would take Brock over Trevor Lawrence? Okay. You take him over Herbert?
I don't know. I'm mad at Lobs. We're not friends anymore. I'm done with Lobs.
I told you I don't like him on Twitter.
5 minutes, but now it's over. Give me one unanswered question that still lingers for this 49ers team.
Well, actually, going back to Lob's, one of his earlier super chats, this is the biggest question, and it's not even a Brock Purdy thing. It's going to sound like a Brock Purdy thing, but it really is more of a Kyle Shanahan thing. Can this team win a big game when they are behind? They do have a quarterback that seemingly so far hasn't proven that he can do it consistently. Although I think that he definitely has the moxie to get it done. But it's really more of a Kyle Shanahan question. Kyle Shanahan seems to make the strangest decisions in tight games. And it's funny because there's the stat floating around that he's like 1-37 or whatever when the game's within 3 points in the fourth quarter, or they're behind by at least 3 points. How many, if we flip-flop that and say how many of those types of leads have they lost? It'd be more than one. I mean, we know about the 10-point blunders in the fourth quarter. So I just don't know if I trust Kyle in those moments. As much as we want to say, do we trust Brock? Sure. But it starts with Kyle. And if you can't trust the coach, it doesn't matter if you can trust the quarterback necessarily. This team has to prove it to me that they can win a big game against a good team coming from behind. And I think it's going to happen at some point during these playoffs. Maybe they can, maybe they can't. But that is the biggest question mark for me.
Well, I mean, if that defense plays like it did, they'll be able to come from behind because they won't be in, many big deficits. But if the defense has a game like it did against Cincinnati and just doesn't have it that day for whatever reason, not only is the head coach not built to come from behind, not only is the offensive line not built to come from behind, but I'm not sure the quarterback is either. So that's like a holy trinity to go Christian. And I don't know. I don't know if that's the trinity you want in those situations. I'm just saying. I'm Jewish. I don't really understand the Trinity. It's confusing. They're all the same, but they're different. I don't get that. But I went to Catholic school and they didn't explain it. I'm sorry. I should have asked. I had an opportunity.
I mean, what other questions? That's got to be the biggest question, right?
3-1 at the same time? How? How do you know which one you're talking to? Is this the Holy Spirit? I don't know. Wait a second. This is the Father or the Son? I need to know. All three. What? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I've thought about this.
Clearly, we know what the biggest question Grant has is, and it has nothing to do with the team. Actually, and to be fair, what he asked is the unanswered question that still lingers. That's what his is about. It's not even 49ers related.
It's more really about life and the afterlife.
I mean, if we're just asking odd questions, how long can a McDonald's hamburger last without getting moldy? That's a question I got to know. Because those things are not real.
How long would you let a McDonald's hamburger sit there before you would still eat it? Like if it were there for a half an hour.
I don't eat McDonald's hamburgers, so 0 seconds.
When was the last time you had a McDonald's burger?
7 years ago, maybe.
That's fair. They're nasty. What about McDonald's breakfast Egg McMuffins?
I used to eat the burritos when I was in like high school, but
Oh,
a long time.
I had an Egg McMuffin last week. It was good.
What about a McGriddle?
It's too much.
To us, too much. Okay, that's where you draw the line. Is it at a McGriddle?
It was like pancakes and syrup and bacon. It's like, no, I don't want that. I just want a piece of Canadian bacon and some microwaved eggs and some American cheese on an English muffin. Thank you. That's delicious.
Listen, I'm not a food snob by any means. I'll eat my fair share of garbage, but McDonald's is just I can't stomach McDonald's. It's so gross.
Well, that beef is just not good per se. Brother Bob says, notice the fake me doesn't have star at the end.
Oh, the little S, see right there, the member. I see it.
Oh, yeah. Got it. Macklin. Yee. Macklin.
Oh, that's his name, Macklin.
All right. Brother Bob, this is the fake Brother Bob. Don't listen to fake me. I removed the star. You guys are really getting me. B Cruising 302 says it really Brock's shortcomings or Kyle getting out coached on a big game that can't get over the hump.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know, man. Kyle would say I didn't throw the pick. That's what Kyle would say. And I like that about Kyle.
Well, here's the thing though. We haven't seen, you said big game, we haven't seen Brock down in a big game. So, I mean, presumably we've seen him win a couple big games or win 2 playoff games. Those are big games. So, I mean, I don't know. At this point, the burden of proof's on Kyle more than it is Brock, in my opinion.
That's fair. Lobs All Day says, why do you think he's 0-40 when trailing? Run game stopped. He is too egotistical about his run play action scheme. He's never invested in O-line for true pass sets. That's true. I don't like agreeing with this guy. But then I like when he gives me $5. So I'll take it. That's funny, fake me, but you broke up. No substar? That's right. Joey Mellon says, y'all really want to see Kyle break Josh Allen? No. Josh Allen's ankles Allen.
True.
Sorry, I'm having a bad time here. Guys, I think it's dinner time on the West Coast.
You getting McDonald's? He's got it actually DoorDashed right now. I guarantee it.
I'm not going to say. It's been just wonderful to see you. It's been so great. Are you doing a show after this? Are you still working?
Yeah, I've got a show with Sunil here in 3 minutes. Oh. I'll be in your neck of the woods on Sunday though for the game. So I'll hit you up. We'll link up.
Oh, because Tampa's in town, right? You're a big Tampa fan.
Yeah, big Tampa guy. Yeah.
That's right.
Go Baker.
All right, well, I'll see you there, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with the coach bright and early. Thanks for watching. Go check out Jesse and Sunil on his channel right now.